वेलकम यू गाइस, वेलकम यू ऑल टू एआई की पाठशाला। एआई की पाठशाला आपकी अपनी पाठशाला है। सो दोज ऑफ यू हु आर वाचिंग माय रिकॉर्डेड सेशन and want to join my live session free of cost, because every session I conduct is completely free. It's absolutely free. You can go to the description section of the video, and from there you can join my Telegram group link, because I post my live session link in that group. So whosoever is interested in doing the live session, you are most welcome. And I conduct the live session at 10 p.m. IST almost every day. And I will be covering Python, databases, statistics, advanced mathematics, machine learning, deep learning, and lot more things. ML ops or AI ops, CI/CD pipelining, different things. I will be covering Git and GitHub also. So these are the all. So today we are today is the fourth session in error and exception handling. We have already covered a lot, but few things are still left. So I will delve deep into it today. So let's start. Let me share you my screen first, and then we will be starting. So is my screen visible to you guys? If my screen is visible, can you confirm me? So please, can you confirm? Is my screen visible to you and my audio
Yes,
is
yes,
clear to you or not? Am I audible properly or not?
yes.
Fine. So Ruchi, please confirm.
Yes.
Fine. So what we have discussed. Okay. So we were discussing raising an exception in Python. So we have already discussed one problem state. We have already discussed one code related to this raising an exception. This is the thing that we were discussing, and we have already understood this. So I will be doing one more code on the same thing, but this time what I will be doing, I am adding a little different thing what I have used in the previous code to make you clear few more concepts. So let me write a code for you first. And this code is very simple because you are already aware of this code. But this time I am using a function. And what is, first of all, you must be known by this time that raising an exception means we are writing a custom exception. Custom exception means that custom exception. That means we are telling our program what kind of exception you are supposed to raise. This is the custom exception. This is also called user defined custom exception or user defined exception. User defined exception. So let's take one code. This code is divide two number. So I am first writing one function. The name of this function is divide, and then I am taking two argument a comma b, and I want to divide a by b. So for this, I am writing one custom exception or one user defined exception. So for that, I am writing if b is equal to 0. So if b is equal to 0, then I am asking it to raise exception. Raise which exception? 0 division exception, the 0 division error. Raise this error and also write this message. Which message? This message which I am writing here in the bracket, division by 0 not allowed. this message I want to write. So wherever I will be writing this raise, what it means that this is a user defined exception. That user is defining for that we have already discussed in the previous code. Now, what else? So this is not there thereafter in this code. What I need, finally, this code should return me what it should return, because this is a divide. So A by B. This is the output of this code. If B is equal to 0, it will automatically raise this exception, zero division error, and print this message for me. Otherwise, if B is not anything but not 0, then it will return me A by B. That means it will divide A by B. So this is my exception. Fine. This exception I have defined already. Now, if I write anything inside, if I call this function, and if I supply any number A and B, where if B is not equal to 0, then this will be fine. This will simply return me A by B, and it's fine. I do not have any issue in that. But let's say if I call this function and in place of B, I will supply 0, what it will give? It will raise an exception called zero division error, and it will print this message also along with me. So I want to tackle this. I want to handle this user defined exception that I have defined here. So how I should handle it? Let's see. I will first write try block, and whatever thing, and I am writing this variable result result, and whatever output, whatever return I am getting from my function call, and here I am calling this function what I have defined here, and I am calling this function, and I am passing some value. Let's say this value is 10,2. Let's suppose. So since this value is 10,2, and I'm calling this function, and I'm passing this argument, and what I want thereafter, I want to print this, whatever result I'm getting, I want to print it. So let's print, let's do this thing, let's print it, result. Fine. Now I will, if the code comes in this try part, and if this thing will run, it will not throw me any error, because here B is not equal to 0. So it will not go inside this if loop, if condition, and it will come to this return thing, and it will return 10/2 is equal to 5, and I will get the result 5. But instead of this, let's say if I will call the same function divide, and I am like passing the same argument 10,0 here, 10,0. This time what will happen? This 0, this V is equal to 0, and it will go inside this if statement, and it will raise this exception called zero division error. Zero division error exception it will raise. And this is a custom zero division error. This is not a normal zero division error. This is a custom. We have customized it. And what I want finally, I want to print the result here also. I want to print the result. Fine. Now, but this line of code will not execute. Why this line of code is not execute? Why this line of code will not execute? Because as soon as it gets 0, it will raise an exception. And if it raise an exception, this line of code will not get executed. So to handle this situation, I have to write except block also. If I want to handle this situation so that I do not get any error, so after this try block, I have to also write the except block, EXCEPT, except block. And now I am handling this error, what I am getting here, by using my except block. So in the except block, I am writing this thing 0, because this is a 0 division error, I know. So I am writing this as 0 division error as E, and we have already discussed about E. And let's print E here, simply print it. We can handle a multiple type of error with the help of multiple except block that we have already discussed in, I suppose, in the first lecture of error and exception handling also in. So let's use another except block and write EXCEPTION, exception, as small e. Thereafter print this, but here let's write, because I want to make you understand few things, general exception, EXCEPTION, comma, is E. This is my general exception. Fine. So now, see, this is my general exception, and this is a 0 division exception. I will explain you in some time. So let's, before this thing, for your understanding, let me write something else also. Write like result. So that's, so hello Ashish, how are you my friend? It's great.
Hi Anup, how are you?
I am great.
Sorry, I joined late.
अरे कोई बात नहीं भाई, कैसे हैं आप? बहुत खुशी हुई
एकदम
आपको
फर्स्ट
देख के।
क्लास।
मैं आप लोग को बताऊं कि ये मेरे मित्र हैं, स्कूल के दिन के साथी हैं, और मतलब काफी अच्छे हमारे मित्रता रही है। पहले जब हम स्कूल में साथ में पढ़ते थे, हम लोगों ने काफी टाइम स्पेंड किया है, और इनको यहाँ देख के मतलब मेरे को बहुत ही बेहद खुशी हो रहा है। और मेरा काफी टाइम बाद आज इनसे बात भी हुआ, और ये अपना इंट्रोडक्शन देंगे। उससे पहले मैं ही आपको इनका इंट्रोडक्शन दे दूं। देखिए, ये अभी डेवॉप्स में है। डेवॉप्स क्या होता है? डेवलपमेंट प्लस ऑपरेशंस। और हम लोग मशीन लर्निंग में भी उसका यूज करते हैं। उसको हम लोग मशीन लर्निंग में एआई ऑप्स बोलते हैं, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस ऑपरेशंस, और एमएल ऑप्स बोलते हैं, मशीन लर्निंग ऑपरेशंस। तो काफी एक्सपर्ट हमारे साथ हैं, ठीक है। तो हम लोग काफी कुछ सीखेंगे इनसे। मैं भी खुद सीखूंगा इनसे, काफी कुछ मुझे सीखने को मिलेगा, और आप लोग भी सीखेंगे इनसे काफी कुछ। तो स्पेशली मैंने इनको बोला था कि प्लीज सर आप आइए, मतलब सर तो मैं यहाँ बोल रहा हूँ, है तो मेरा लंगोटिया दोस्त, ठीक है। तो इट्स लाइक कि आई एम एक्सट्रीमली हैप्पी दैट मिस्टर आशीष यू हैव ज्वाइंड टुडे। इफ यू वांट टू स्पीक टू us, you can have few something. If you
नहीं
want to
नहीं,
tell something, you can tell.
no, thank you. We will. I mean, I just wanted to say that we will start Linux, and then means when we will have session, then I just wanted to share Linux part if those who are interested, so we can also study on that along with what Anup is teaching. That is fantastic. I went through his videos and it is very helpful. I will learn Python from Anup, and and
And
we
I
will
will learn
figure.
DevOps from you.
Yeah, yeah. So that is collaboration. Very good plan.
And where can you please specify which company you are right now we are working for?
Okay. So right now I'm working in Kyndryl Solution, which is a spin-off company of IBM. So which mainly works for infrastructure domain. Okay. So which basically involves OpenStack, OpenShift, Kubernetes, databases. So we provide the platform to the application application, what you are teaching is the application part, but where you deploy the application, that
Correct.
platform is provided by us. Okay. So that is mostly the containerized environment.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I mostly, but just to add in that, before learning DevOps, it would be better if we have good experience in Linux. So everybody should have a good understanding of Linux, because all the servers are Linux, I mean, Linux based server only. So, first thing is to have a Linux understanding, then DevOps part. So, yeah, that is the short brief of my experience.
So I'm looking forward to learn a lot of things from you. And
Yes, yes. Of course, we will teach together and we will learn together.
yes, definitely. No, see here in our group, like everyone is a masters. Everyone is very expert in
Yeah, yeah. So
own field. Whosoever is sitting here, they all are expert in their field. So I have already told them whatever if you want to contribute in any ways, whatever you feel, you are most welcome.
sure,
So
sure. Of course,
what
of
I
course.
know, I am contributing. What if someone else knows, they can contribute. This is all about.
Yes, yes, yes. Everybody's contribution is required here.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
सो थैंक्स आशीष. तो हम लोग
Thank you.
आगे आगे बढ़ते हैं, फिर हम लोग क्लास
Sure,
सेशन के
sure.
बाद बहुत सारी बातें करेंगे.
Correct, correct. Sure. Please continue. Sorry for the
अरे
interruption.
नहीं भाई, आप आगे, अपना तो दिन बन गया.
चलो ठीक है.
so so guys, so what we were what we were discussing, this thing, raising an exception. So see here, I have what I was doing here, like in the try part, I want to I have given this I have put this variable and I've called this function, but this will throw an error, and the error which it is throwing, in any ways it will throw an error. But since I have already defined this function, and I have I have customized this error as a like user defined exception or custom exception, you can say. So it is going to throw me an error, but I want to handle that error. So see here, what I want to handle that error. To handle that error, I have to write the except block of code. So see here in the except block, I was handling the error in two ways. First, I am writing this zero division error, which is my standard error, I know, and as E. And in second thing, I am handling this error as exception as E. I have already told you this exception is a base class of all the errors. That means whatever error we have covered till now, individually, whatever error we have covered, either it would be zero division error or syntax error or mathematical or arithmetic error or module not found error or memory error, or the error that we have not yet covered, because there are a lot of error. We cannot able to cover all those error. So the error that we have covered and that we have not yet covered, all those errors is derived from this exception class. This is a class of error where every type of error is defined inside it. Are you getting my point? This is since I do not want to emphasize much on class, because we will discuss that in object oriented programming. But understand this simple thing. This exception is a class of error from where every other category of error has come out of it. So if you simply in your code, if you do not remember anything, do not know what this error would be, either it would be zero division error, or it would be syntax error, or it would be arithmetic error, or whatsoever. If you simply write in the except block this exception as E, and then if you print it, it will automatically see what category of error it is falling in, and it will give you that. This is all about. So let me, and before that, there is two except block here. So let me first run this code and then I will explain you. See, here, when this function is calling, when I am calling this function and I am passing this variable, I am getting the result, because here it would be fine. It is returning me a by b and I am getting this 5.0. This is fine. But in this case, I am getting an error. So this thing, this result, and thereafter E. And what is E? E is division by 0 not allowed. This what I have written here, division by 0 not allowed. 0 division error as E, and I am getting this thing, division by 0 not allowed. Now I am doing one more thing. Let's see, I am commenting this out. Let me comment it out. What it means to get comment it out means, now this part of the code is not running. It means this part of code is not running. If this part of code is not running, now I am again running this program and see, otherwise I can do one thing. Let's copy this entire code, and first let me do something.
But in place of 5, I am getting none.
Let me
I don't know why.
see. In place of 5, what you are getting? None.
None.
So check, you must be doing something wrong. Definitely you are doing something wrong. So I will discuss it. Let me first finish this thing that I wanted to explain to you. See here, what I have simply done in this code, what is the difference between this code and the code that I have written here? Only there is one difference. I have exchanged this except thing. Earlier, I have written except 0 division error as E, and then I am writing this thing. And after that, I am writing this except exception as E, and I am printing this thing. So this time I have simply changed the position. I have shifted this above and this shifted this below. I have done this thing only. I have done this changes only. What I have done, let me take out a pen for you, and let me simply, I have done this thing. I have shifted this here and I have shifted this part of the code here. Nothing there. I have done nothing new in this. Simply I have done this. So if you see, there is in this code, simply the below part gets shifted to above and above part gets shifted to below. This changes I have only made inside this code. Now let's run this. So you can see the difference in the output. Earlier, I was getting output result division by 0 not allowed. But this time I am getting this thing, general exception division by 0 not allowed. Why I am explaining you thing, why I wanted to tell you this thing. So let me explain you first. See, what I mean to say, see, since I want to deal with the exception that arises here, that arises in this part of the code or inside this try block, whatever exception is arising inside this try block, I wanted to deal with that exception. First and foremost thing is, one except block is sufficient to deal with that exception. I do not require multiple except block for the same thing. For different category of error, I require different except block. But here, since only one category of error is there to handle, so I require only one except block. So what is happening is that whenever this try block, whenever the code is whenever the control is shifting from this try block to, it is coming to the first except block, and this except block is getting executed, and my error is getting handled by this except block. My error, whatever error I am getting inside my try block, is handled by this particular except block, whatever except block it is encountering first. So this is the except block which is coming first. So this except block is handling this error, and I am getting this thing result, and this E. So I am getting this result, and this E, what is inside this E? Division by 0 not allowed. And in this except block, I am using this exception class of exception class, in which every exception is present as E, and I am printing this general exception comma E. So now when I am doing this, what I am doing, when I am shifting this thing, let's see here. When I am shifting this except block below and this except block above, what is happening? As soon as this error is coming inside this try block, the control is flowing from this try block to the first except block. And what it is written? Except this time, this zero division error is not encountering, it is not. First time it is coming in contact with this except block. So this exception as E is getting executed, and I am getting this print statement, general exception. Then what is inside this general exception E? Division by 0 not allowed. So I have not written this. This is already present inside this exception class of error for the zero division error. So I am getting this by default. If I am, so only one except block is being executed, because one except block is like sufficient to handle this error. So it is not coming to the second except block. Whatever except block is it is encountering for the first time, that except block is getting executed, and I am getting the output according to that. Do you understood this thing or not? Please tell me. Now you can ask questions, whatever doubts you guys are having, you can ask question. You can ask your doubt. I will be helping you with your doubts.
In both the cases, I'm getting none in place of 5.
So in that case, you have to share your screen, and I need to check it. Then and only because I do not know right now what wrong you are doing. So for that, why you are getting this none error?
I don't know what is the reason.
Let me ping this entire code to you in the chat window, and just copy that code and run it in your system and see, are you getting this error, or now you are getting everything fine? I am pinging this code. So just copy this code and paste it in your cell and run it and see.
Same this. No change.
Same. Restart and clear your output. Do this thing. Restart. Go to the kernel. Restart and clear output. And then run it again. Ruchi, are you getting?
Yes, I'm getting.
Fine.
What if we write finally?
So if let's write finally here also. So let's
But
write.
it's not printing. It's not printing.
Fine. What?
It's not printing.
So let's write finally and see. let's see, writes finally, and then write print and write I will always get, sorry, I will always get this get
Yeah, it's printing.
executed. And let's run it again. See, I am getting I will always get executed. Fine. So
Fine.
this will always get executed. So Misra sir, are you still facing an error?
Yeah, see.
So
When the first except block is going to be run all the time, then why we need to write the second one?
this is no, you do not need to write. I was just making you understand. If let's say more than 2 except block you will write, only it will run the first except block. That I was telling you. There is
Okay,
no
when there is multiple
there is no need to write the 2 except block here in this case. But if you
Okay.
write, let's say, so it is going to execute the first except block, and it will ignore the second except block. That I was telling you. But in certain
And
situations,
if there are two or three मतलब, two or three errors, if there is two or three error and we need to write two or three except block, then what will happen?
so I suppose I have discussed this before also. So it will, you can write it and see what will happen. It is better that whatever
Then
thing
to
you are,
do the first one, na?
yes,
It will execute only the first one.
no, that was a different situation. Let's say if, see here, I only having an error of zero division error. But let's say if I write something here and that is a different kind of error. Let's say that is a value error or some syntactical error or some arithmetic error kind of thing, or some other error that is a different kind of error. So I have to write a separate except block to handle that error. But if you write this exception, this will be taking care of all the kind of errors, irrespective of what the error category is. But if you are not writing this exception, then you have to write separately different for handling the different kind of error. You have to write different error categories. You have to mention it in the except block. And I suppose I have already discussed this in the I suppose in the first or second session, where I have explained it to you. So I do not exactly remember what was the question, but I'm sure I have discussed this thing before also. So
That was discussed that we need to write whatever error are we encounter, we need to write separate except block for that.
yes, yes. But here in this particular situation, only I am having one category of error.
Okay,
See,
now got it.
got it? But
Yeah.
there is also one case that I may discuss with you. Let me see.
Means this exception block will recite all the rest of the error which may encounter in the question which we are not aware of.
Correct. Because this is a base class of error from where all other errors are derived from this class, this exception class.
Okay. Got it.
Got it?
Yeah.
So shall I move ahead?
Yeah, please.
Mr. Misra sir, if you want to share your screen, you can share. Let me check it out. What is the issue you are facing? Or we can do one thing at the end of the session. You can share whatever you like. It's all up to you. At the end of the session, if you want to share, we will look into it and see what is the issue with you. So
Okay.
Let me, what the Ruchi was asking, let me just explain the same thing to you. Let's take this code. This code I have already discussed. That's why let's take this code. So this
Please
is a
take
try.
a code where we will encounter multiple error.
Here,
Please take a code in which we encounter multiple errors.
fine. So
And we will not write multiple except block for that. We will only write that exception block.
okay. So let's do one thing. Shall I take that question at the end of the session? Because the
Okay, okay. Sure.
concept wise we have already covered it. So we will take that question. I will frame that question and I will explain it to you. This thing also. Fine.
Okay, fine.
This code we have already discussed. So this, see here. So I suppose we have already discussed it. So there's nothing to explain it. Now,
But we have discussed it in another way. I want this to be discussed with this way.
fine. I got your point. So let's do one thing. Instead of this raise exception, I will frame it in a different way. Let's frame it in a different way. And then I will explain to you. Or I will put the same thing in the code that we are going to discuss. We have to discuss a lot of things right now. So I will frame that into that code. Same thing that you are talking about now, I will put it into that code.
Okay, sure.
So this thing is clear. Now let's see one more concept that I want to discuss. This is called assertion. ASSERSION. This is called assertion or assert. So the syntax of this is like, we have to write first, let me write this ASSERT assert. Then we have to write the condition, and then comma, then we have to write message. What it means, if the condition that is specified in this assert, if the condition, whatever condition is specified after this assert statement is false, an assertion exception is raised. What will raised? An assertion exception will get raised. And assertion exception will get raised. So wherever we will write this assert statement, after that we have to specify a condition and write some message if I want to write. If I do not want to write the message, I can skip. What this means, wherever this condition is coming out to be false, an assertion exception will get raised there. And this, which helps us to bug, can helps us to identify bugs in my code. Fine. And this is useful during the code development and debugging phase. Now let me explain you with the help of problem code so that you will get a clarity. So let's take the one function, same function that we have taken before, divide. Let's pass the two parameter a comma b, and thereafter here put assert, assert, assert b, and then write not equal to 0. This is not equal to 0. This is my condition. Sorry, not column. So this is my condition. See, I have written assert. After assert, I am writing my condition, and my condition is b is not equal to 0. Thereafter, I want to print a message, and that message is division by 0, division by 0 not allowed. See, division by 0 not allowed. This is my message that I want to give. Finally, I want to return a by b. Now, this was my function. Let me call this function. Let me call this function. So, and whatever output I will be getting, I am saving this in this variable result. So let's call this divide. Same thing, let's take 10 comma 2 here also. So, and let's print this, print result, and write this result here. Fine. So I suppose this will work. There will not be any issue here. This will work fine. Second, let's again call this function divide, and this time pass 10 comma 0. And I want to print, let's print this thing, this line will not get executed. Fine. See what it means. First, let's say when I'm calling the function here, it is checking the value of b. What is b here? 2. It is checking b not equal to 0. B not equal to 0. That means 2 not equal to 0.
I'm facing difficulty.
Hello.
Your voice is breaking.
My
Your voice is breaking.
Is everyone else
Your
is
voice
facing
is
the
breaking. Your voice is breaking.
same situation? Is everyone else is facing the same situation? Can you guys please confirm me? Mr. Shankar sir?
Yeah, your voice was breaking, but now it's more
Is it so?
okay.
Is it okay now? Ruchi, can you confirm me again? Is my voice again breaking? My internet connection is stable, I suppose.
Yes.
Is my voice fine now? Is my voice fine now?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
But yeah.
okay.
But I'm not able to understand.
Which you are not able to understand? This assert thing? Okay. Oh, no issue. I will explain it once more. So,
The result one. The whole two statements of result.
fine. I'm explaining it right now. Say, see. Have you understood this thing? This line? Assert b is not equal to 0. Division by 0 not allowed. Simply I am writing the condition b not equal to 0. Is this condition true or false? When I am running, Ruchi, Have
Yeah.
you understood this line or not? First tell me.
Yeah.
Fine. Now, let's come first here. This is a variable where I am saving the output, whatever output I am getting from this function call, I am saving inside this variable. So now, what parameter I am passing? This 10, 2. 10 is A and 2 is B.
Yeah.
So it is coming, this first it is checking this condition. B not equal to 0. Is this condition true or false? 2 not equal to 0. Is this condition true or false? Tell me.
True.
True.
Yeah.
So this is true. So it is not doing anything, because what I have written here, an assertion exception will get raised. Let me write it here. The exception will get raised only when the condition will become false. Fine.
Fine.
Let me write it for you here, so that if the condition evaluates to false, the assert statement raises an exception. Fine. Now, since my first condition is coming out to be true, so this
Yeah.
assert statement will not raise any error, and I am coming inside this return, and I am getting 10 by 2 is equal to 5, and the same thing, if I run, I will get it. Do you understood this? Do you understood this?
Yeah.
Fine. Now, when I am calling this function again, and I am passing this value 10 by comma 0, it is checking this condition, b not equal to 0. Is b not equal to 0 condition true or false?
False.
False. So this will raise an exception, because this condition is getting false here. So let me make you understand this by calling this two functions separately. Just fine. Let's run this and then run this code. I am getting the correct output, but if you will run this code, you will getting, see, assertion error. Fine. And what is the assertion error? Division by 0 not allowed. The same thing what I have supplied here. Let's say, let's write something else. Instead of this message, let's write something else. Let's write, my name is Ruchi. Let's write here, and let's run it again. Let's run it again, and let's run it again. What I am getting as an assertion error, my name is Ruchi. So whatever message I will put here, it will be shown in my assertion error. Do you get it?
Get it.
Fine. So any issue till here?
No.
Fine. So we are moving ahead, and let's understand something else. So we have already talked about this assertion error. Now let's discuss one more question on the assertion error. So what this question is, so this is a assert for comparing two variables. So I am using the assert statement to compare two variables. Let's see here. I am writing in the try block, x is equal to, let's say, 1, and in the y is equal to, let's say, is equal to 1. And I am writing the assert statement, assert, and then condition. The condition is x not equal to y, x not equal to y is my condition. And in the message, let's put any message. Both variables are same. So what will happen? The error message that we provide will get printed. And now I am using the except block, except this assertion error as, let's say, MSG message, or you can type E also, you can write E also, anything you can write, because print MSG. Now what I am doing here, I am defining one condition, and the condition is as, if x is not equal to y, then write this message, both variables are same. Are not same, I suppose, not same. Otherwise, put this message except assertion error as MSG. If I simply run this, let's say, what will happen? Both variables are not same. I am getting here as a message. Both variables are if you change this variable, let's say, if you change this, if instead of x you can write something else, let's put 2 here and then run it. This time you are not getting any exception error, because this time this is coming out to be true. X is not equal to y, so this is coming out to be true. But here, since both is equal to 2, this condition is coming to ought to be false, and I am getting this assertion error. So this concept is also clear. This is a different kind of scenario. Now come to some few other types of exception, and let's see. Whatever you are talking about, I will be Ruchi, I will be dealing with this same thing in the coming code. So
Okay.
what is this thing I wanted to ask? So let's take one code. Let's discuss one code, and let's discuss this for loop inside this this code, and use this try except block and prints the result. So what I am doing, looping through. This is a code of looping through list and print division of given element element by itself. Let's write. I am taking this list called list 1. Let's say this is a variable, and I am taking the 3 list. My first list is my first element is A, second element is 0, and my third element is, let's say, 2. This is my list. Now, see, for, let's say, X in list 1, what will happen? Try, or for I in list 1, let's say, or I or anything X, right? Let's say write X. Now, what will happen first? Let's understood this before doing this. If I am looping through it, and I want to divide each one of the element by itself. I want to divide each one of the element by itself and print division of given element by itself. So let's say my first element is A. If I divide A by A, what will happen? If I divide A by A, what will happen? First tell me this.
1.
Okay. So this is a very new mathematics that I am hearing. And if I divide A of why this is, if I divide A by A, so you mean to say 1, Ruchi? Because this A and A will get cancelled. If I divide Ruchi by Ruchi, so you mean to say this Ruchi and Ruchi will cancel and I will get 1?
If they contain some value.
But here it is not containing any value. This is a string, na? This is a string. So that means if I divide
string only.
Elephant,
if we divide string,
elephant by
string.
so if I divide elephant by, let's say, lion, so this L and L will get cancelled. And this and will get cancelled, and finally I will get this thing. Is it that way?
No.
No. See, this is a string, I know. And if I divide any string by any string, is the division possible? No.
No.
Division is only possible between any integral value or any floating point value, between integer or float value. But it is not possible between 2 strings or 1 string and 1 integer or float. So this is not possible to divide this string with this string. So in that case, if I try to divide this string by this string itself, it will throw me an error because this division is not possible. So an error. Fine?
Fine.
If I try to divide this 0 by this 0, again this will throw me an error.
Yeah.
Because this division is also not possible.
Yeah.
But if I try to divide this 2 by 2, this will give me 1.
Yeah.
So what will happen? So let's see here. Same thing. I'm whatever I have explained you, I am going to put it in this code. Now, what I am doing, I am having a list. So if I am having a list, I can loop through it. And what is my problem statement? Looping through the list and print division of given element by itself.
Yeah.
So for that, first I am looping through this list for X in list 1. Thereafter, I know that if I loop through this list and if I divide A by A, it is going to throw me an error. And I have to handle that error also, because I do not want error in my code. And I want to handle that error beforehand. So let's do this thing. I'm writing this try block inside this for loop. So what first thing that I like to write, print the element is, let's say, EL. Sorry, X. Element is X, because this X will take the value. First time it will take the value at this position 0th index, then first index, then second index. So first time it will take the value okay, fine, Pratyush. So the element is, I'm writing this print and comma X. Now take any variable. Let's take variable RES or anything you want to take, and do int X by int X. This is a way to print it. This is because what I want, division of given element by itself. So whatever element you want to divide, I'm converting that into integer. Fine. If it is in, let's say, any form, I want to first convert it into integer, and then I am dividing this integer value with this integer value. Now I want to break it, because if I do not use this break statement, it will fall into the endless loop. So I want to break it if this is possible. And then I know when it is when the value of X is A, this part is going to throw me an error, because this thing is not possible. This I cannot convert an string value into an integer value. So this itself will throw me an error. So I want to handle it. Now to handle it, what I am writing, except, let's write exception exception as E. I do not know which kind of error this is, where it is falling or whatever it is falling. I am just writing except exception as E. And then I want to print something. Print, and let's print this E, comma, this error occurred. Let's see. Let's print this. And also print something. It's all up to you. If you want, you can print, otherwise you can skip. But I want to print, let next check for another element in a list. Yes, fine. Finally, what I want to print, I want to print RES, because this is the thing that is my final thing that I wanted to get. This value, what is inside, I want to divide like this thing inside this thing. Now here, see Ruchi, this is very important. Here, this is a different kind of error. When it is doing for loop for the first time, during the first iteration, what is the value of x? Value of x is a, and int x divided by int x, it is giving me different kind of error. It will throw me a different kind of error. First, it will throw what kind of error? Because x in this case is string, and I want to convert this string into integer, which is not possible, and it will throw me a different kind of error, and I am handling that error with the help of this except block. In the second scenario, this 0 divided by 0 will throw me a 0 division error, and this is a different type of error, and that will be taken care of by this except statement. And in the third in this third iteration, everything is fine. I am not getting any error, so this will get executed, and from here my loop get broken. Break statement will break your current iteration, and finally I get my I wanted to print this res, and I will get my result. So let's first run this. Run this and let's see what happens. If I run this, I am getting this thing. So here let's do one thing so that you can get a clear. Let's print here. Let's write one print statement here so that it is clearly visible. Now let's run this. See what is happening. Let me explain you what is happening here in this code. During the first iteration, what is the value of x? Ruchi, I am asking you. During the first iteration, what is the value of x?
A.
A. Good. So, element is A. So, do you understand this line is getting printed? This line, the element is A. The element is A. Then, when it is coming here, it is trying to convert the string value into integer value, and this will throw me an error, and I am handling this error with the help of this except block, and this is a base class of error. I have not separately mentioned any error here. Which category of error it is, I have not mentioned. I have simply mentioned exception as E. So see what I am getting, and then I wanted to print E, and after end I am printing this error occurred. This error occurred is the thing that I have already provided in the print statement, and this thing I am getting from the exception class of error. See this from here to here. What I am getting? Invalid literal for int with base 10. That means, it simply means you cannot convert the string value into an integer value. This error means this thing. So I am getting in the exception except block, I am first getting E. What this E is? This error message. From where this error message is coming? This error message is coming from this exception class, from this class of error, from this class of error, from this class of error. This error message is coming, and after that, I want to print one more line. Next, check for another element in a list. So this next check for another element in a list is getting printed, and I am simply writing print here so that in between the two iteration there should be a one line space. If you simply write between any two line of code, if you simply write this blank print, it will simply create one space. So it is creating one space between the two iteration. This is the case of first iteration. Now let's understand what I am getting in second iteration. See, let's write here so that, okay. First clear it out, clear all drawing, then let's understand this. See, Ruchi, this was my list. A,
Yeah.
then 0. Since it is not visible, that's why I'm writing this. And 2. Now my first iteration is over here. First iteration finished.
Yeah.
First iteration finished. Now I'm coming to the second iteration. So in my second iteration, what is the value of x? What is the value of x?
0.
0. Now see, print the element is 0. This element is 0. It is printing as it is. No problem here. Now when it is coming here, int 0 by int 0, what it gives? 0 by 0. Are you getting?
Yes.
So this thing will not be possible. I cannot divide 0 by 0. So this will throw an error. So what will happen? It will come out of this try block and it will go to the except block. Because I want to handle it. Now, here also I have not mentioned any specific type of error. I have simply mentioned this exception as E. So this exception class will automatically determine which error category it is falling. I haven't mentioned anything in the first iteration also, and it has verified itself. Similarly, I am not mentioning in the second iteration also. So first thing what I am getting, this E. What is this E? Error message that I am getting from this exception class. So now see, in the second line, what division by 0? This is the error that I am getting from my exception class. That is E. So first, this division by 0, this error is getting printed. Thereafter, whatever I have written inside this print statement, if I would not want to write, I can skip this also. So I will not get anything here. But let's say I have written here. So I'm getting this error occurred. But that is this division by 0, this error occurred, I have written, or you can simply write error occurred, whatever it is. Thereafter, next, check for another element in a list. So I am getting as it is this line. After this thing, second iteration will finish here. Second iteration will finish here. Thereafter, I am coming to the third iteration. What is the value at third iteration? What is the value of x in third iteration? Tell me, Ruchi.
Yes.
What is the value of x in third iteration?
2.
2.
Fine. So this is printing the element is 2 as it is. The element is 2 as it is. There is no issue here. And there is also no issue here. RES is equal to 2 divided by 2.
1.
RES is equal to 2 divided by 2. And I am getting 1. And this in this iteration, no error is occurring. So it is not throwing any error. So it is not going inside this except block. Are you getting? This time, this thing is not throwing any error. I am getting my output as per and no error is occurring. So if no error is occurring, my code will not move to the except block. It is simply coming out of this for loop. And this was the last iteration. So it is coming out of the for loop. And finally, what I want to print RES. And this RES, what is RES? RES I am getting as 1. So this is getting printed. Is this thing clear to you or not? Tell me, Ruchi.
Yes, clear.
So is this clarify your doubt, what you were asking at that time, or you need some more explanation or something more you want?
Yeah, can you explain the one element is
I-
a valid literal for integer with base 10?
Okay.
What is this base 10?
Okay. Okay. So let me explain you this thing. See what it means. This is a exception class of error. Class of error. Exception. This is a class of error from where all other types of error has been derived. Fine. This is the exception class of error from where other error category has been derived. So when you are writing this exception as E, it will automatically determine on its own which error has been occurred, and it will show you the message accordingly. So this invalid literal, because what I am doing, I am doing here, I am dividing A. What was my first thing? A. So I am just int A. What I was doing, int A. That means I am converting this string. I am converting this string A into the integer. Int A. It means simply I am converting this string into an integer. And this is not possible. We cannot convert an integer, we cannot convert a string into an integer value. So this is throwing me this error. This is giving me this error, this message. This message is given by this exception. Same message is given, this exception class is giving me this message also. Division by error, this message. Here it is giving me this message because here when I am dividing 0 by 0, 0 by 0, it is giving me this message. And this time, since there is no error, so my code is not going in the except block. Are you getting, Shankar sir?
Yeah, but where does base 10 come from?
Where this?
Base 10.
This is a message, error message, which is written inside this.
Okay, okay.
I do not know. This is written inside this exception class. And it is
Okay.
coming from that. It is already built inside it.
Okay, okay.
Is it? Are you getting now? Huh.
Yes.
Shall I move ahead?
Yes. Can we have a 2 minutes break? Water break?
Okay, fine, fine. You can take not 2, you can take 5 minutes break. What is the time? Let me stop. So let's take a break of 5 minutes. So let's discuss one more code here. And this code will, what this code is going to do? This is very simple. I want to write simple program for even number using try, else, assert. Fine. So simply I want to print the even number using, I want to find the even number using try, else, and assert. So we have already discussed assert. Hope you remember this. This thing, we have already discussed it. Now let's use it here. So first thing I want to write it, I want to write a try block here. Inside this try block, I want to take the input from the user because I have to determine whether the number is even or not. So let's take the input. Let's take int and thereafter put input. And what is inside this input? Enter a number, and what this thing? Fine. So this is the input that I want from the user. Int input enter a number. Now I want to write assert num divided by not divided by num this. If it gives the remainder of 0, if this gives the remainder 0, then it is fine. Then I don't want to do. If I want to write something here as a what I have message, I can write. If I do not want to write message, it's not mandatory to write message. So I'm skipping here this time, because last time I have written. So this time I'm skipping this message, because writing a message here is something which is not mandatory. It is optional thing. So now, so my condition, assert condition is, if the assert condition is coming out to be true, then it is fine. If this condition is coming out to be false, then this part will raise assertion error. Fine. Now, if this part will raise an assertion error, then I have to also deal with that error. So how to deal with that error? except accept. And what I want to accept? Print not an even number. Not an even number. Fine. Thereafter, write this else, then print I wanted to write this else block, and I'm writing executing else block as try block hasn't raised an exception. Fine. So what I am writing in the except block? Print not an even number. And in the else block, I am writing in executing else block as try block hasn't raised an exception. So I have already discussed, if the try block will get executed, then and only this else block will get executed. If try block will not get executed, this except block will get executed. In that case, this else block will not get executed. Now let's run this program. Enter a number. Let's enter any, first enter any, let's say, even number. So what I am getting? Executing else block as try block hasn't raised an exception. That means this has been executed and it is not raising any exception first time. Now let's run this program for the second time. This time I am writing any odd number, and see, it is raising an exception and it is printing this thing, not an even number. I am getting this, not an even number. Fine.
Yes.
Again, run this for the third time. This time enter any string value. It is asking me to enter integer value, but it is asking me to enter number, but I am entering the string value. If I run this again, this part will throw an exception and I will get inside this except block, and it is printing not an even number. Do you get this point?
Not an even number? Yeah.
Not an even number? Fine. Now let's discuss the lambda function here. So I suppose you remember the lambda function. So now I am going to explain you the lambda function, and this is, I suppose, the last thing, or maybe one more thing I will discuss. Let's first discuss the lambda function here, or I will use it inside the lambda function. Let's first write one defining. I am defining one function. I am defining function for raising exception. I am defining function for raising exception. So how will you define this function? Def raise underscore exception. This is a function I am writing, and I am writing some argument inside it. Let's write x. And raise ex. So whatever message I am writing here, passing here, it will be writing here, raise ex. I want to raise the exception. So I'm writing one function for raising an exception. This is the function I have written. Now, second part of the code is use lambda, L-A-M-B-D-A, lambda function with exception, with EXCEPTION exception, raise if value is, let's say, less than, if value less than 10, will raise an exception. So now let's write it. Use the lambda function. For writing the lambda function, I am writing first, I am taking one variable, let's say y. Inside that, I am writing the lambda function, LAMBDA lambda x. Then write so let's write one case here. Let's write, if I am writing x here, lambda x, let's multiply it with 2. I want this thing. I want x to get multiplied by 2 if, let's say, x is less than 10. And else, otherwise, raise underscore exception. And pass this thing, EXCEPTION exception, CEPTION exception. And then inside this, I can pass any message. Let's pass this message, value greater than 10. This is a message. Do you get this point? Here I am defining this exception function, raising an exception function. And here I am writing one lambda function. This lambda function, what I want this lambda function to do. I want this lambda function that whatever value you are receiving as an argument x, make it 2x. When you will make this value x to x, when if the x is less than 10. Whenever you give any value to the lambda function which is less than x, it will simply double the value of x, 2x. Else, This is the if block. I am writing this inside this else block. Otherwise, raise exception. This function, raise exception. And what I want to raise, I have to pass this exception here, and then whatever message I want to pass, I have to write that message. So here I want to write this message value greater than 10. So now if I run this thing, first run this and then run this lambda function. Then now inside, now pass some value. Let's say I'm passing this value 8 and I'm running it. I'm getting 16. Why I'm getting 16? Because 8 is less than 10. That I have put inside this condition. If x is less than 10, give me 2 times x. So I'm getting 8 into 2, 16. But if let's say I supply the value as let's say 12, what it will give me? It will throw me an exception, because in the else part, I am asking it to raise exception, and the message that I want to give inside this exception is value greater than 10. So I am getting the same message here, value greater than 10. This is also one way to write the exception using the lambda function. I suppose this is clear to you.
Yes.
Fine.
Value greater than 10.
So one last question that I want to discuss with you. So let's discuss this. This is the last question of the day, code of the day, not question. So the question is like defining function for finding the square root, SQRT, and checking type of number and raise exception if not an int oblique float. And raise exception if not int oblique float. So I want to define a function for finding the square root, and then I want to check the type of number, which type of number it is, and raise exception if not integer float. And I want to raise the exception if the number is not either integer or float. So let's write it. First of all, I have to find the square root. So let's import math here, import math, because this is the module that I may use inside this. Then define one function def, and what I want to find, the square root. So write this function and pass some argument here, because what is my problem objective statement? Defining a function for finding a square root. So that's why I am defining this function to find a square root. I am supplying this argument a. And now what it is asking me, and checking the type of number. So whatever number I am giving it as an argument, it should be either integer or float. If the number is not integer or float, definitely I am not able to find the square root. And the same thing,
Yes.
I want to mention it inside my code. Are you telling something, sir?
No, it's okay.
So if the number is not, let's say, apart from integer or float, if there is anything, so this function will throw me an error. So first of all, I want to check if not is instance a comma int comma float, int comma float, float. That means what it is doing, if not is instance, this thing is checking this a, is the a either integer or float. If this is giving me true, not, I am writing not. That means if this is true, if is instance is true, then that this is not is instance. What means it? Is the value of a present inside this or not? If it is present, then fine. If it is not present, then raise what? Raise type error. Type error. Or you can write any other error also. You can write raise any other error also. But I am writing here as a type error. A must be numeric. I want to raise this exception. Thereafter, in the elif statement, elif, I want to write this elif. A is less than 0. Let's say if a is less than 0, raise type error. Why I am writing this? Because a should not be negative. Should not be negative. Fine. Because a will always, if I have to find the square root of a, it should not be negative. If a is negative, then also it will throw me an error, and I want to handle that error. That's why I'm writing this elif statement, and I'm raising this error, type error, this will be. And my third block is else. Else print math dot sqrt a. Fine. This is my third thing. So what actually it is doing? Now, if I will give any value, and if it is coming out to be, let's say, integer or float, so this thing will become false, and this will become false, and it will not go inside this if statement. It will come inside this elif block, and it will check whether a is less than 0. If this will also become false, then it will come inside this else block, and finally this print statement will, finally this math.sqrt will get executed, and I will get my result. But what if anything I will give apart from the integer and float, it is going to raise the error, and that error is type error. If I will give anything which is not integer or float, let's say if I will give any string value, then it will raise this error and I will get this message. If I will give any negative value, then it will come inside this and it will raise this error and I will get this message. A should not be negative. So let's run this code. And now let's call this function find underscore sqrt. This function, call this function, and let's give, let's say 49. So I'm getting the result. Nothing wrong in this. Now this time, let's say I am supplying some string value. Let's say AI. So I am getting this type error. And what I am getting this type error, A must be numeric. A must be numeric. Whatever I have mentioned here, I am getting here as a type error. A must be numeric. Again, let's say give some negative value here, pass a negative value inside this function. Let's pass some negative, any negative value. Let's pass minus 76 and run this code. Again, I will get this type error, but this time I will get this message: A should not be negative. Whatever I have written here, A should not be negative. So this is all. This is all about it. This is all I wanted to discuss with you by this question, by this code, our errors and exception handling.
Can you please just go to line number 23?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Have you written?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
fine. So by this,
Can you come down?
okay.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
So by this, we have finished this error and exception handling. And
But in the line number, this find SQRT minus 76.
okay.
Waiting just a minute. Okay, okay.
Fine.
Yeah, now. Okay. You can, you want to close, then you can close. I have that issue. Initially, there were two, I was getting none. And
Okay.
remember?
Let me resolve it first. That issue for
Yeah.
you. So let's, guys, I'm going to resolve few other issues here. So this is all. Those of you who wanted to join the free live session, they can go to the description section of the video and join the Telegram group link. And don't forget to subscribe the channel AI Ki Pathshala. So we also do comedy with code here in my shorts. So must watch it. Thanks for joining, and bye bye. See you tomorrow.